Hi and welcome back to Efficient Pipe Design. In this video we're going to be going through sections 4 and a portion of section 5. First and foremost, we're going to start discussing about the utilization of a three-stage design method. The concept behind this is to basically massage your design in multiple phases such that you can put enough thought in to move forward without having to come backwards and do too much redesign. The idea behind it is there are basically multiple variations of pipes designs. You ranging from commercial, residential, process, large diameter, that's only to name a couple of them. The idea is that each one of them has their own sets of rules, but there's a lot of commonality between them. So what we've developed here at Tetra Tech is a three-staged approach which mimics basically your construction document milestones. Now, it's not to follow that. A lot of people get that a little bit confused, but I just wanted to kind of emphasize this. First off, the design method, we've broken it into three areas. First portion is the 30% milestone. This is the very, very beginning. This is when you sit down with your client or the engineer or the project manager and start laying out where you think you're going to want this. It can be, I call it the napkins design. You just scribble it down and take a look at what you're wanting to produce. Then once this has been reviewed and taken a look at and everybody's signing off on it, we can move into the 60% milestone where you take that alignment and you create a vertical and you start taking a step closer to that picture and you start defining the weeds of this thing. You're looking at conflicts and identified problems, and you start coming up with solutions. And this may also mean that you go back to the 30% design and start readjusting the alignment and see what it does with the vertical. There may be some things that you just cannot get past. Then we move in once the vertical is all signed off and everybody's looking at it and they agree that this would be the method to follow. We go into the 90%. And this is where we start putting pipes into the ground. Now, the reason why we've developed this is because the 30 and the 60 kind of go together. They are still cohesive within Civil 3D, but once you make the jump into 90, you now move away from the alignment and the profile controlling what your design is to the pipe. And I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit more cumbersome to start moving pipes around than an alignment and vertical alignment. It just makes things a little bit more difficult. So this would be basically the method in which we're going to be following in the next sections to come, and we will be moving forward. In section 5, we'll be looking at the layout of the design in an alignment and vertical profile format. For this, you're going to basically be looking at the 30% milestone as we discussed earlier for the horizontal pipe layout. I'm going to be showing you a couple of tools to use, shortcuts that I like to have to help the process along. It just makes things a heck of a lot easier. And then later on, we will be looking at the 60% milestone where we go through the vertical pipe alignment layout and generate profiles from the alignment we generated in the 30%. And we're going to take a look at some interferences and such and utilization of a couple of time-saving little techniques for pipe crossings, and also introduce you to a vertical deflection labeling method for the design. So let's just go ahead and jump right on in here again. What you're looking at is basically a piece of land. We've got some existing condition information in here along with some proposed. That's to the north. We're looking around, and what we're really wanting to do here, part of the design is take a 24-inch off the main water line that's located in the road. We're going to sort of try to follow through the alignment here and exit out on the right-hand side of the page. So this is again is like the napkin scratching portion. We just want to kind of sketch something out and take a look at it and get moving on this. So my recommendation is to let's utilize some generic items from Autocad days where we bring in a polyline. So we're just going to lay out a polyline. Before we go and do this, I would like to bring your attention to the polar tracking options. What we want to do is our parts that we're going to be utilizing are what? bends of 11 degrees, 22 and a half, 45, 90, and so on. So it'd probably be in our best interest to lay them out in that fashion. Now, I've seen in the past where people have developed very cool dynamic blocks to be able to do that. However, I think we're sometimes missing the generic ones that are kind of right there for us. So if you come over here and go into the settings of our puller tracking, you can come in and you can see that I have these things to increment at a 22.5 degree bend, and then also I have put two additional angles, one at 11 and one at 349. Actually, that's I believe 349.25, but it kind of hides that. So what we're going to be doing is we're adding these so that way we can have our snapping angles puller track throughout the process, and we will know that we're turning at particular angles. To add these, you just come over here and hit the new, and you can type in 11.25 or something of that fashion. And you know, it adds it in like this, but when you hit OK and you come back into it, it's really odd, but it doesn't carry the items. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete this portion. Something else that you want to make sure and have selected, typically it's in absolute. We want to have it as relative to our last segment, such that as you're moving forward down the pipe, you can tell which way it's going to be going based off of the relation. So we're going to hit OK. We've got this enabled, and we're going to start our pipeline. So I'm just going to start with a polyline and kind of bring it through, and I'm going to straighten it out. Then I'm going to want to start following this road. So I'm going to about right here, and then okay, I'll cut through a bit. That looks good. And I'm going to come up here along the edge, and then I want to sort of, let's see, we'll cut it another 23 here, and then come on over. And of course, you know, you're never going to hit it perfectly perpendicular, but you can always push it. So we're going to go perpendicular to our pipe. And now that we've got the alignment decently looking the way we want it to, it may not be perfect, and it doesn't have to be, we can convert this polyline into an alignment. So simply come up here, and I'm going to assume that most of you already know how to do this, but we can convert the create alignment from object. Select the object closest to the end in which you want your beginning position to start. And then it's going to show a little arrow to make sure the direction is going the way you want it to go. Now I do want to mention that in gravity systems, you know, yes, you kind of want this to show properly, but in a pressurized system it can go either which way, and it's also dependent on how you wanted your sheets to be laid out later on. Typically we want the tie point to start, and then we will move forward. So this pleases me. We're going to move forward and give it a name. We'll just call this our 24-inch. Oh, again, it gave me the little ding. 24-inch main. And we've got my styles preset. I want to erase the existing entity. I do not want to add curves because these will be points of deflection. So we're going to hit OK, and my alignment has been created. At this point in time, we'll basically move on to the next vertical section portion.